Many years ago, I met an old Englishman who told me about a wreck filled with gold that was lying somewhere off the Spanish coast. He said it went down in 1702. The Monmouth. That's the name that comes back to me. You should talk to your correspondents about it.
I am very pleased to make your acquaintance. I'm a specialist on English archives. All you have to do is to tell me what you're looking for, and I'll do all the work for you. Obviously, I come at a price. $250 per day. What do you want? It's undoubtedly the name of an English ship. 1702, you say? I'll have to go to Portsmouth to do my research. It'll cost you another $200 a day for my expenses, over and above my salary. I knew it. More cheap hotels, greasy food, and public transport. How can I work properly under such conditions? In any case, I can't go lower than $150 expenses per day. I'll set out right away. I'll ring you back as soon as I have any news. I've done my research on the Monmouth. An English ship of that name took part in the Battle of Vigo in 1702, but it didn't go down. On the contrary, the Monmouth distinguished itself by capturing a Spanish galleon, the Santo Cristo, and the galleon went down while the English were towing it behind them. There are a lot of archives concerning the Battle of Vigo. I've selected the most interesting ones for you.
Oh, there you are again. What can I do for you? Yes, I can do some research on the Battle of Vigo. Don't worry, I can manage alone. Shall I start now? I'll get to work. I'll ring you back as soon as I find something. I have found numerous accounts of the Battle of Vigo. It was a great victory for the English. The Spanish galleons they sunk were loaded with gold. They were returning from the Americas, and most of them hadn't unloaded their cargo. As you can imagine, the bay has been searched several times since the battle. The ship that interests us is the Santo Cristo. It sunk at the entrance of the bay. I noticed a curious detail. The captain mentions that just before the battle, they loaded several crates on board from a French ship under Admiral de Chateau Renaud.
Hello! So you're Mr. Pinkleton's nephew. He no doubt told you that I'm a specialist on French and Dutch archives. As for my emoluments, I wish to maintain the same conditions as I had with your uncle. $200 per day. What can I do for you? Admiral de Chateau Renaud? I see. I'll do some research in the Ministry for the Navy in Paris. I'll call you back in about a week. You'll be pleased. I found the Admiral de Chateau Renaud's report. He was in command of the French fleet at Vigo, and the Admiral mentions a galleon called the Santo Cristo.
Phew, at least I managed to call you. The old witch is constantly watching my every move. She won't even let me have visitors. I have two pieces of news concerning the Monmouth. One good and one bad. Which do you want to hear first? I've got some new documents. I must show them to you. I think I know exactly where the Monmouth went down. We're not the only ones to be looking for the Monmouth. A team is already prospecting the site. Good God, here she comes. Oh no, she's going to give me an injection.
So, are you pleased with yourself? Your uncle had a heart attack, and I had to have him hospitalized. It's all your fault. You shouldn't have got him all excited the way you did. And now I have to mind the house all on my own. I've already told you. Your uncle has been hospitalized. Now leave me alone. Your uncle isn't here. He's been hospitalized, and I'm getting tired of coming down to answer the door. That's none of your business. And if you left me alone, I'd feel much better right away.
Now, my friend, what can I do for you? You know, my friend, people who are too serious always have a weak spot somewhere. The trick is to find it.
What'll it be? So,
Miss Peabody. She didn't always look like that. When she was young, she wasn't bad looking at all.
Shut up, Sam. You're gonna make us cry.
you're the one who should shut up, not me. I wasn't the one who was always running to the grocery store buying crystallized fruit.
Yeah. She used to like crystallized fruit. The only way to have a chat with her was to offer her some. But if you wanted to go any further, nothing doing. Can I help you? Crystallized fruit? I've got a few boxes. Do you want one?
Your uncle isn't here. He's been hospitalized, and I'm getting tired of coming down to answer the door. That's very kind of you. But might I be permitted to know why? I see. You certainly landed your uncle in a nice pickle. Oh, he'll get over it. But I'm beginning to get tired of minding this house all on my own. That's true. My legs are hardly able to carry me anymore. That's what I keep telling your uncle. But he's so self-centered, he never listens to me. It's very expensive, $2,000 a week. With the money your uncle pays me, I wouldn't be able to afford it. You're very kind. Not like your uncle. Can I count on you to water the flowers while I'm away? I'll do some shopping and prepare my bags. I'm leaving the house open for you. Give me time to get my things ready.
Admiral de Chateau-Renaud, in the service of the King of France.
Gentlemen, I am the bearer of bad news. We are at war with England. Admiral Rooke's fleet has laid siege to Cadiz. We shall have to unload at another port.
There is no question of going to a French port. The wealth on board these galleons belongs to Spain and shall be unloaded in Spain.
I may have a solution. Look at the Bay of Vigo. We could fortify our position there.
situation is serious. We have wealth on board that belongs to the French crown, but the enemy has arrived. The English are upon us, we must do battle. Fire and the sword, we shall show them what we are worth. We must protect the royal treasure. Transport the crates to the Spanish galleon at the far end of the bay.
That's it, I found it!
Are you sure?
No doubt about it! I'm going straight back down there!
Now, my friend, what can I do for you? Your information seems to be reliable. I'm with you. I'll give you an advance of $700,000 for 50% of the profits.
What do you want? The wreck must be 100 meters down. We'll detect it with my magnetometer. I'm off to Boston to get my boat ready.
What do you want? At the entrance to Vigo Bay, the water's about 100 meters deep. There's no question of diving there with standard equipment. We'll need special gear. I'll look after that.
Hello? So, still looking for treasure? We won't be the first to dive in Vigo Bay, but no matter. We'll surely find some fascinating information about the evolution of Spanish naval architecture. I'll see to getting permission from the local authorities.
Glad to see you. Believe me, time goes slowly when you're in hospital. I've just had a strange call from Europe. I'm invited to an island in the Mediterranean. I'm counting on you to go there for me. Your host will be a Knight of the Order of Malta. He has a proposition to make to you.
Welcome to this timeless place. I am a knight of the Order of St. John of Jerusalem. We are also called the Knights of Malta. I shall put you on the trail of a wreck, the Saint Marguerite, a galley that belonged to our order and sank more than 3 centuries ago. I shall reveal the secrets of the Saint Marguerite to you, but only on one condition. You must first learn and understand the history of our order. You must find the beginning.
Long before the First Crusades, a group of merchants from Amalfi sailed to the Holy Land. A terrible storm broke out in the course of their voyage. The unfortunate pilgrims fell to their knees in prayer and vowed that if they survived the storm, they would build a hospital in Jerusalem. Suddenly, the wind dropped, a rift appeared in the clouds, and a solitary star shone down on the still waves. 4 beams of luminous light blazed from the heavenly body and lit up the mysterious coastlines of the islands of Malta and Rhodes. According to the legend, the pilgrims honored their vow, and a hospital dedicated to St. John the Baptist was built in Jerusalem. Located no more than a stone's throw from the Holy Sepulchre, the hospital provided care and comfort for pilgrims, but also for Jews and Muslims. In 1076, the Turks invaded the Holy City. The hospital, nevertheless, continued to provide a sanctuary for pilgrims who'd come from the 4 corners of Christendom. Then began the Age of the Crusades. Brother Gerard, founder of the hospital, obtained the Pope's protection, and thus was born the Order of the Hospitallers of St. John of Jerusalem. The hospital continued to grow. Pilgrims could sleep there on beds with sheets and blankets. Doctors and priests ministered to patients' spiritual and physical needs. Each patient was given a pair of slippers and a mantle. In 1137, the Hospitallers joined the war on the side of the Crusaders. Those who fought were called knights. The Order of St. John was divided into 3 branches: the knights, the chaplains, and the nursing brothers. The hospital's reputation spread throughout Europe. Grateful patients and crusaders left land and castles to the order, which found itself in possession of vast domains. Many young lords joined the Hospitallers in search of excitement and adventure. There were many military orders in Palestine, all waging a merciless war against the infidels. The rivalry between the most famous of these orders, the Knights Templar and the Order of St. John, was so great that they grew to detest each other and were even known to fight each other. In 1187, Saladin, the Sultan of Egypt, declared a holy war. Outnumbered by 10 to 1, the knights did battle with the Sultan's troops and were decimated. The Grand Master of the order was killed, and on September the 17th, Jerusalem fell to the hands of the Muslims. When Richard Lionheart conquered Accra in 1191, the knights set up a base there. The city was renamed St. John of Accra, and a new hospital was built. Christian territories in the Holy Land were protected by numerous fortified castles. The strongest of them all, the Crac, was occupied by the Knights Hospitallers for 162 years. In 1271, the Crac fell to the hands of the Muslims. Soon, the only Christian flag floating over the Holy Land was at St. John of Accra. The Knights of the Teutonic, Templar, and Hospitaller orders were entrenched in the city and preparing to fight their last battle in the Holy Land. The assault began on the 5th of April, 1291. 150,000 Muslims attacked the city. Vastly outnumbered, the knights were unable to resist the storming Mamelukes, and most of them died with their swords in their hands. The Grand Master of the order was grievously wounded, but managed to reach the port. He sailed from Palestine with a handful of knights. The Hospitallers were never to return to the Holy Land. Their fate would lead them first to Rhodes, then to Malta.
So, you found the star. Good. Let us hope that your greatness of soul is equal to your obstinacy. However, I owe you a reward. Now, go to the cloister and meditate. I opened it for you. Then you shall certainly find the means of coming back to me. Ah, there you are at last. I thought I was going to take root here. I shall tell you the rest of the history of the Knights of the Order of St. John, who, when chased from Palestine, established their domain on the island of Rhodes. Only those of noble extraction could aspire to knighthood. They came from all the lands in Christendom. They took vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, and further swore to fight as soldiers to defend the faith against its enemies. As Hospitallers, they pledged to treat the poor, the suffering, and the destitute. Their leader, the Grand Master, was elected for life. Rhodes, Island of Roses, and the rising sun. The knights conquered the island in 1309 and remained there for almost 2 centuries. They built fortifications in order to defend the island against the Muslims. Rhodes was the leading bastion of Christianity in the Mediterranean. It lay on the main sea route linking Constantinople to Egypt. The Order's galleys harassed the Turkish and Egyptian ships. Their expedition became known as caravans. The knights were builders also. The city of Rhodes was swiftly surrounded by ramparts and moats, but they had not forgotten their vocation as Hospitallers and quickly built a hospital. The Turks were the most formidable enemies of the Knights of Rhodes. After the fall of Constantinople in 1453, the island of Rhodes, situated at the limit of the Ottoman Empire, was the last bastion of Christianity. It constituted a veritable challenge to the power of Mehmet II, the glorious Sultan. Mehmet II wanted to destroy the order. In 1480, his army of 100,000 laid siege to Rhodes. Pierre d'Aubusson, the Grand Master, knew how to defend the city. The Sultan's powerful artillery proved useless against a handful of knights. After 3 months, the Turks lifted the siege, leaving thousands of their dead behind them. But it was only a respite. 40 years later, the armies of Solomon the Magnificent swarmed over the island of the knights. Ah, the caravans! Imagine 2, 3, or 4 galleys, the flag of the faith flying from the topmast, bearing down on the infidel vessels. The war of speed had become the principal military activity of the order established at Rhodes. Of course, the young knights were more attracted by battle than by medicine, but the order never abandoned its Hospitaller vocation. The hospital at Rhodes was a palace for the ill, the poor, and the destitute. Solomon took the throne in 1520. The whole of the eastern Mediterranean was under his dominion, except for the island of the Corsair Knights. It was too much for him. In 1522, 150,000 soldiers of the Sultan surrounded the city of Rhodes. Like their glorious predecessors, the knights resisted. But after 5 months, short of food and munitions, they were forced to surrender. Solomon allowed the Grand Master, Villiers de l'Isle-Adam, accompanied by the 200 surviving knights, to leave the island. The order set out in search of new lands, just as they had done 2 centuries earlier when leaving Palestine. Now you know of some of the most glorious days in the history of our order. I shall tell you some more about the Sainte Marguerite. after the fall of Rhodes, the Order erred for 8 years in search of a new home. The Emperor Charles V gave us the island of Malta in 1530. And as a sign of their gratitude, the knights undertook to give him a gift each year. Find what the gift was and bring me back its image. Go first to visit the cemetery. Ah, yes, a falcon. Such was the tax paid by the knights to the King of Spain. Now it is my turn to make you a gift. Here are some more fragments of the history of the Saint Marguerite. Now, go to feed your spirit under that place where we feed the body, for that which was closed is now open. When you have done what you have to do, come to see me in my cell.
After the fall of Rhodes in 1522, the Order of St. John was again homeless. Villiers de l'Isle-Adam, the Grand Master, quickly set about seeking a new base. In 1529, Charles V of Spain granted him the Maltese archipelago in return for his symbolic allegiance. Every year, for the Feast of All Saints, the Order made a gift to the king: a falcon with a silken hood, golden bells, and a ring bearing the imperial arms. On the 26th of October 1530, Villiers de l'Isle-Adam officially took possession of the island of Malta. Once again, the galleys of the Order had a new home port. The war could begin again. With the fall of Rhodes, the Muslims were masters of the Mediterranean. Christian trading ships were harassed by Barbary Coast pirates. Some of them, like the famous Redbeard, attacked cities and ports. The Corsair knights engaged in a merciless war against the pirates. Jean de la Valette became Grand Master in 1557 and promptly proceeded to reinforce the island's defense system. It was high time. The Turks were soon to appear. The Sultan's troops arrived on the 18th of May 1565. The knights were again besieged. Again they resisted. On the 8th of September, a Christian fleet came to their rescue. Malta was safe. The Turks would never conquer the island. The Grand Master had formidable fortifications built to provide definitive protection for the city of the knights. The city received a new name, La Valette. The Battle of Lepanto took place 6 years after the siege. The Sultan's fleet was decimated by the Christians. The 3 galleys of the Order put in an outstanding performance. Protected by their walls and feared in their galleys, the knights became the guardians of the Mediterranean. The knights took an active part in the lucrative hunting down of pirates. It was the 17th century. The Order had reached the high point of its glory. The famous caravans, squadrons of corsair ships, became a veritable school for European navies. In spite of the war, the knights had not forgotten their vocation as hospitallers. In 1712 they built the Holy Infirmary, considered to be one of the most beautiful hospitals in the world. In the 18th century, the Barbary Coast pirates progressively abandoned their weapons. Deprived of a clear enemy, the order entered a period of slow decadence. On the 15th of June 1798, the island surrendered without a struggle to General Bonaparte on his way to Egypt. The Knights would never again take control of Malta. The British would later occupy the island and kept it under their control until 1964. Bonaparte hunted the Knights from the island. They returned to their respective countries. The order then returned to its original vocation, hospitalization and treatment. The Knights of today still elect a Grand Master as leader of a strange republic deprived of territory. National chapters of the Knights of Malta raise funds and build hospitals. They transport personnel and equipment throughout the world to wherever people are suffering. The Order of the Knights Hospitallers of St. John of Jerusalem is now nearly 1,000 years old. It has survived because it knew how to adapt to the great events of history. Doctors and nurses, the Hospitallers were also, when the occasion required it, soldiers and sailors. Today, they devote themselves exclusively to the one activity they have never abandoned: hospitalization and treatment.
I thirst. I think I caught a fever while cleaning the chapel. Bring me a drink. Ah, I feel better. Thank you for your assistance. You deserve to learn the last secrets of the Sainte Marguerite. That's the whole story of the Sainte Marguerite. The story dates from the time when our order, installed at Malta, formed an alliance with Venice against the Turks. Venice offered the knights a statue of Saint John as a token of friendship. The Sainte Marguerite, escorted by other galleys belonging to the order, went to take the statue back to Malta. They didn't come straight back to Malta. They captured a Turkish ship and took the booty on board. If you find the wreck, the treasure is yours, but the statue of St. John must be brought to Malta to its rightful place in the cathedral. Go now, and may you be worthy of my confidence. Accept this statue of St. John.
Now, my friend, what can I do for you? Your documentation is precise. Moreover, you've had good results so far. I'll give you an advance of $1 million for 50% of the profits.
What do you want? The wreck is lying in deep waters. We'll need a sonar. I'll take care of that.
What do you want? We can't work at that depth with divers. We'll need a submarine. I'll see to it.
Hello? So, still looking for treasure? A galley belonging to the Order of Malta. We're very lucky because this type of wreck is extremely rare. I'll see to the formalities.